Hi, I'm Mimi Chan. Welcome to Culture Chat. Thanks for joining the conversation. Hi everyone, welcome to Culture Chat. This week is Chinese New Year. So, as many of you listeners know, it is an extremely busy week for me as a member of the Wallam Temple. Pretty much what we do is we go around for several days in a row and we do shows all around town, sometimes from like 8 in the morning till 8 or 9 at night, nonstop. So it is going to be a very busy week, and I thought we would bring you a little bit of the Year of the Rat, cultural highlights and some of the traditions that we do for Chinese New Year. So I have with me my favorite co-host, Oscar.
Hello, Mimi.
Nice to have you on the show again.
It's nice to be on the show again.
Okay, well, the Year of the Rat is not your favorite year.
No, actually, the word rat makes me nauseous. Because I grew up in this old building in New York, in Brooklyn, East New York, and there was a lot of rats, a lot of mice. I saw a lot of rat death. A lot of rat suffering, and rats and mice do not bring good vibes to me. However, in the spirit of Chinese New Year, I'm going to change my mindset.
Very good, very good. And so I talked about this, I think, last year on a Chinese New Year episode, and I will put a link to last year's podcast where I really go into the story of that, the ancient race in which all the animals were in a race that was held by the Jade Emperor to decide the zodiac and the order. And the rat is actually the winner of the race because he is quick-witted and I would actually say sneaky more than anything, because he was diligent enough to jump on to the different animals and the ox to go across the river, and then he jumped off the ox before he finished before the finish line, and so therefore he was actually the winner of the race. So this could be a good year for a lot of people, especially those who are the Year of the Rat, I guess. I don't know. Some people say, oh, if it's your year, it's not a good year for you. But superstitions aside, we want to try to embrace the good parts. And this is the year of the metal rat. As you know, there's always an element. Earth, wind, fire, Earth, wind, and fire, and wood and metal. So we have all these.
Is that a song?
A band.
A band?
Yeah. Little September, let's groove. Okay, I digress. So the characteristics of the rat are, as said, very quick-witted, resourceful, and smart. Sometimes been said to lack courage, but I guess that's why they scamper around in the darkness.
Well, they have rich imaginations, apparently.
Apparently. Well, I mean, Mickey Mouse, maybe not a rat, he's more of a mouse, but I guess the same species, very, very imaginative, right? And so there are, of course, all these different philosophies and things like that go along. We're not astrologists, so we're not really going to get into that, but we are going to talk a lot about our Chinese New Year tradition, which I think you and I end up talking about probably every year. So for you kind of got thrown into Chinese New Year like 20 plus years ago, and it's actually one of your favorite holidays.
It is. And the reason is because for us, it is a holiday that involves a lot of moving around and a lot of excitement and fireworks and smoke. So, I mean, how can you not love that?
Yeah, so for those who need to get a real visual, what happens is the Wallam team rolls up from their cars, not rolls like actually rolling. We jump out of the cars, we set up, we've got a drum, we've got cymbals, we've got a gong, we've got firecracker rolls. They get like kind of hung up on these large poles. The lions come out, the performers jump out, we start playing music. The lion runs into the restaurant or store or business or whatever and does like kind of a blessing, goes around the entire place, sometimes interacts with a lot of guests and people. People feed these little red envelopes to the lion for good luck. The lion comes out, and then he does his main eating, which is lettuce, ironically, and also the red envelope. And so the lion eats that and then spits it everywhere back at the store. And then kind of once that happens, the firecrackers go off, and then the lion dance finishes, and sometimes there's a kung fu show. So a lot of people ask a lot of questions about these different components, like the red envelopes. So you've known them to be quite lucky, yes?
The red envelopes?
Yes.
Because they have money in them?
Yes.
Yes. It was a surprise. The first time I got an envelope, I don't even remember, but we give red envelopes to people as gifts.
Yes.
Who never have gotten them before. So we get to experience people getting that for the first time and thinking, what the heck is this for? And then they open it and go, oh, there's money in here? This is awesome. I love these red envelopes. So that must have been my first experience, but I honestly don't remember it.
Yeah, it was too long ago, yes.
It's been a while.
So yeah, the red envelopes are also, of course, they're red, so that symbolizes the good luck, and they're lucky. And the Hong Bao is what they're called. It's actually called a red package or red envelope, right? And so within it does contain money of different variations. And traditionally, if you're unmarried or a child at Chinese New Year, and especially birthdays and things like that, but you will get a red envelope from the elders. So, you know, it was kind of the one downside of getting married is that I didn't get those red envelopes anymore. But I'm
glad it's the one downside. That's good. Good to hear.
Yes, but traditionally, you know, that is what happens. And so, of course, the store owners and the business owners, they feed the lion the red envelope because they believe in giving, that they're going to be getting good luck. But also, I think it's a nice gesture of kind of that back and forth, that like if you give, yeah, and if you give, you will receive type of thing. And so these performers work super hard. So I know that they like to feed the lion, but the lion also eats the veggies. And people always go, oh, lions are vegetarians. Why do they eat vegetables? And it's just really because the Chinese word kind of symbolizes like fortune and all of that. And so it's really more of a symbolic thing. The lion is not actually vegetarian. We're pretty sure.
A lot of luck and money symbolism.
A lot of luck and money symbolism. We're pretty sure if there was a steak hanging, the lion would probably go for that instead.
Probably.
Especially if you were in the lion.
Yeah, right. And depends on how it's seasoned. You know, it's very important, the taste, in my opinion. But it's interesting to think about that so many words in Chinese they sound similar to another, and so then things get adopted that symbolize what you're doing. So, like you said, with lettuce, and you know, with prosperity or wealth, and you know, with lucky numbers like 8 and health and things like that. So that's always interesting to think about. And perhaps there are people smarter than us who can go into that in more detail.
Well, I mean, it also works the same for bad luck. So why Chinese people do not like the number 4 is it sounds like the same word for death. And so, you know, this is also something I would like to tangent upon with the whole Chinese language. I, as many of you know, take Mandarin lessons, and I'm always telling my teacher that many of the words sound the same. And he goes, what do you mean? They don't sound the same. And I'm like, wait, aha, you guys use these names for things to be dual uses because they sound the same. And so I think I just proved a point there.
Are you going to use that the next time you talk to him?
I'm going to use that, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to use that. We're making a note. Yeah, so in any case, Chinese New Year is a really cool symbolic thing for us, but it's also a really fun time. Now, it falls on a different day every year. So this year it is January 25, this Saturday, and that is super hectic because it's very early. And so I cursed the moon this year because, of course, it is based on the lunar calendar. And whenever it is this early, it's very rushed because it's right after the holidays. But I think for those of us who do those little like, oh no, January 1st came and went and we didn't hit our New Year resolutions, we didn't get that start of the year type of thing, we always tell our students, hey, good news, Chinese New Year is January 25, so if you didn't get what you wanted to kind of kickstart, now is your time. And I'd like to kind of ask you, you know, you have a lot of strength and conditioning, a lot of fitness clients, as a fitness professional yourself. What kind of advice do you give them when it comes to, you know, that whole new year, new start business? I know it's not something we heavily believe in, quote unquote, but what kind of encouragement are you going to maybe give to our listeners?
Well, I give advice that I don't always follow. So the advice that I always give is don't wait for the new year to start your New Year's resolution. However, I find myself a lot of times thinking, well, New Year's coming up. Okay, starting the new year, I want to do this. And then inevitably, all right, Chinese New Year's coming up. That's when I'm really going to start doing what I'm going to do. The problem with that I have found from personal experience is that you are putting things off continuously, and it's a habit that will not lead to you fulfilling your goals, because you will always have an excuse for starting at a different time. Oh, I can start again Monday, tomorrow, or I'm going to start whatever goal you set, you keep pushing off the start date. So that can be negative. However, just like everything else, there's a flip side to it, which is wherever you are in life, you can think, you don't have to think about all of the negative things that you've done. You can say, you know what, I'm going to have a fresh start starting right now. So a lot of the advice that I give clients when they say, well, I don't know what to do or where to start, I usually say, well, let's start right now, and let's start with whatever is the simplest and easiest thing that you can do.
All right. Do we want to hold ourselves accountable and pick something?
We're each going to pick something?
I don't know. I just thought of that just now as you were speaking. It started to make me feel, wow, it means I should be doing something extra, with the year of the rat and all.
Actually, so there's obviously a ton of studies and things that have been proven that show that if you hold yourself accountable with someone else, so you're putting things out there to a group, letting people know that you're trying to accomplish something, that it's more likely that you'll do it because you don't want to disappoint people. So yes, let's do that.
I'm going to cheat though, because really all I want to do is get through this 2020 with a successful 50th and 40th Walam anniversary celebration. So for those of you that don't know, my father, of course, brought Walam Kung Fu to the USA and started teaching here in the late 60s, but officially formalized the Walam system in 1970. And so this year is the 50th anniversary, and I've been working diligently on a commemorative book, and of course, the celebrations that'll take place in May in Boston. And then this year is the 40th anniversary of the Walam Temple, the first Kung Fu temple ever built in the United States. And we are trying to figure out what to do with that. So I'm just putting all my energy towards that. And I will let my listeners know that it's going to be two really awesome events. But in terms of the health and fitness side, while I am working, I am going to say that I do not want to just be stagnant and sit down. So I am going to try to get up more often. And even if it's just a little stretch or to get some water, but to kind of keep moving and moving around, because I know that one of the things you talk about a lot, and we talk about on 40 Fit Fu, is the whole, the best position is the next position. And so it's just not that sitting is horrible, it's sitting for a long time that's bad for you. So I'm going to try to keep moving.
That's a good one. Now I would feel bad if I try to come up with something that's not as great as putting all my energy towards a great goal like the 50th anniversary of Walam.
Well, it's not really a goal. It's kind of like I don't have a choice anyway. So that's why I said it's kind of cheating.
Okay, good. So then I won't cheat, and I will think only of myself. Personally, a big thing that's coming up this year, but still has to do with Walam, geez, just like everything else, is the instructor certification coming up in May. So that's a short-term goal coming up in under 5 months of trying to be as ready as I can to pass that certification. Granted, it's not something you can prepare for in 5 months, but I can focus a little bit more diligently on it over the next 5 months, even though I've been prepping for the past 3 years. And all the experience that you have from before that comes into play as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who are out there, we would love to hear what your goals are for the year, and what small things you're going to do to kind of set little benchmarks to hit those milestones. And so we just want to hear from you. So let us know what your goals are and how that is going, and keep us posted. Now back to the New Year celebrations that are at hand, because it is a steadily ramping thing. It's usually like a 2-week celebration. So we have shows going over to the next 2 weeks. So those of you who are in the Central Florida area, please come out, say hello, give us a shout, watch our show, feed the lion. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, kind of going back into some of the stereotypes, some of the things that people are, you know, they always would say, oh, I thought Gong Hei Fa Choi meant Happy New Year. And it doesn't actually mean Happy New Year. No, it's actually just our wishes for like prosperity and joy and happiness, right? So that's that choi word, which I was mentioned earlier, is the same word for the lettuce, and that is what the lion eats, and it spits it out. So it's basically spitting out that prosperity back at you. So Gong Hei Fa Choi in Cantonese, or Gong Si Fa Chai in Mandarin. So that is what we say during New Year, because we're basically saying like lots of great wishes for happiness and prosperity, yay! And then so Happy New Year is actually 新年快乐 or 三月快乐. So it's totally different, but people often think that when we say 恭喜發財, it's Happy New Year, but it's not.
I would say that I knew that, and yet I didn't know that because I don't think about it. We just since we just say Gong Hei Fa Choi all the time.
Yeah, it's very
dropping
common.
knowledge. I like that.
Well, I think people need to know these things, right? Because then they say, oh, during, for example, a regular New Year, they think that's a direct translation, and it's still actually appropriate for any time, really, to wish that, but it's really only said at New Year. It's a specific, like, kind of a New Year phrase. So, so for those of you who are listening, you have Chinese friends, you can use either the traditional Happy New Year or the special wishes for happiness and prosperity, which is a lot more common. So give it a try and let us know how that goes as well. So while we talk about New Year and all the things with the resolutions, there are actual celebrations. So China shuts down pretty much for the whole, couple weeks of this Lunar New Year festival because it is pretty much the biggest holiday. So we work during New Year because we are helping others celebrate, but traditionally most businesses shut down. They do not work. They really spend a lot of time with family. So it is an important time to spend with family. And I think there's a lot of food involved as well. Did you just perk up?
As soon as you said food, I thought, now I'm focused. No, didn't we jokingly call this Chinese New Year Chinese Christmas? It's like the biggest holiday of the
So actually,
Chinese
Christmas comes from Sifu George Key and I, when we performed in the 90s in Jamaica for Chinese New Year, we were around all the Jamaicans. And for those of you who know that my mom is Jamaican, so yes, we speak patois and we do Jamaican things and we eat Jamaican food. And so in Jamaica, they call Chinese people Chinese people. And of course, when we were going around with the lion, they would be like, oh, it's Chinese Christmas. And so we would say it's Chinese Christmas because we took that kind of home with us because it was kind of funny because they basically thought it was the Chinese Christmas. And it actually kind of is. They're not really wrong. But a lot of course, lucky foods during Chinese New Year is they do a lot of like glutinous rice cakes and sweets and things like that, like sweet rice balls. And of course, there's always the longevity noodles, and dumplings are, those are little wrappers as well. So they're like kind of wrapped up in pockets. And so those are like little money bags. And they kind of look like, the old school like gold pieces. To me, they kind of look like that. So I wonder if that's why dumplings look like that. But
if it has
does
to do with
wealth.
Chinese symbolism, it's going to have to do with longevity or money, probably.
Yeah, and so the noodles and the fish, all of that is longevity and prosperity. And so, yeah, lots of good things. And there's a lot of candies that you see. And honestly, though, a lot of those Chinese New Year snacks and dishes I never really liked growing up as a child. They were just like so sweet. So it really wasn't my cup of tea. But what's cool is after Chinese New Year, we have something called the Spring Banquet. And that's where we just get like the 12-course meal. And there's always something pretty tasty during that to eat.
Yeah, and you know what's cool with that too is the words 12 course. and meal all together. It's a lot of variety.
You know, there's just usually a lot of food. You know, there's a soup. You've kind of got to you get the cold appetizer, the hot appetizer. There's soup, and then there's lots of dishes.
Yeah, it must be because 8 dishes that's really lucky, but 9 is really lucky, and 12 is really really lucky.
I think it's just kind of you count everything. Like even if you get oranges at the end, that kind of counts as number 12. So it's not like we're eating 12 huge things.
Right,
and
only
also
like 9.
Also, it's family style, right? So it's not like you yourself get 12 plates in front of you. You basically have one plate, and you get to share it with everybody. Because again, Chinese New Year is about family, Oscar. Right, so there was one more thing you wanted to talk about with Chinese New Year, and it wasn't about family, but it was about the Year of the Rat specifically, because you and I tried to find one good thing in, other than Mickey Mouse, because he's not really a rat, but specifically the rat, that we could find there was something other than the Chinese New Year symbolism that was positive, and we came up with one pretty cool rat in terms of pop culture.
Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because Splinter is the master and your dad is Splinter.
Well, that is what you kind of told yourself in order to kind of embrace Splinter and be happy.
Right. Listen, even thinking about Splinter as this giant, furry, dirty rat.
Mutant rat.
It's gross. Rat, come on. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why couldn't they have made him something else? But on the positive side, he was a great teacher, and he taught the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we'll look at that as the positive side.
I'll call Kevin Eastman and ask him why did it have to be a rat?
I don't know. I don't know. And on top of it all, and this is the other thing, living in New York, sewers, right? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were in the sewer.
That's why there was a rat, Oscar.
Right. And I mean, it makes sense.
But anyway, for those of you out there who can find us more examples of positive rat figures, let us know, because for sure, Splinter's kind of the one that we came up with.
Right. I can't think of another rat because that's positive. There's no
other than Mickey Mouse, but he's not really a rat.
And is he really positive? If you think about it.
Hey, you live in Orlando. You're not allowed to say that. But so yes, we do see, that whole old master Splinter thing kind of as like my dad, the old kung fu master, and he would say all these like fun little philosophies, and I have to ask my dad if he likes the Ninja Turtles and the rats, and I'm thinking not so much, but either way, it's a lot of fun to think about. So as we move into this this Lunar New Year, January 25 is the year, and we just want to tell everybody that we hope that it's a good year for you, and that you have a very happy and healthy and positive year. And if you didn't get that New Year start, you can still get it now. So we would like to sign off with a big Gung Hei Fa Choi to everybody. So
Gung Hei Fa Choi.
Yeah, or Gung Si Fa Chai if you prefer Mandarin.
Chuk Mung Nam Moi
or
for the Vietnamese.
Oh yeah, Chuk Mung Nam Moi, right. So this is lunar, so it is celebrated across many of Asia's countries, and many, many, many people celebrate. So we want to know what you plan to do for New Year, but you know where we will be. So if you are in Central Florida, please come out and see a Walam Kung Fu demonstration and lion dance. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very loud. It's going to be very crazy, but we are looking forward to it. So Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year of the Rat. And Gung Hei Fa Choi, Gung Si Fa Chai.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to Culture Chat, and hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please subscribe and rate my podcast. Feel free to leave me suggestions or send an email to mimi@culturechatpodcast.com, or follow me on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.